Good morning and welcome to the latest episode of Real Reviews. I am Tim Gordon and I am joined by fellow CCA and WAFCA critic Charles Kirkland Jr. Charles, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well today, sir.
All right, man. Charles, we've been anticipating this film, man, since the calendar turned for 2025, and it is finally here. Ryan Coogler's fifth film, am I correct? I think it's his fifth film. Fruitvale
It's
Station.
fifth film. That's
His
right.
fifth film,
Number
yeah.
Cinco.
Thank you. His fifth film, and of course, Sinners, an original story by him, written, produced, and directed by, of course, Black Reel Award and NAACP, Oscar nominated, all that Ryan Coogler.
Don't forget
This
Grammy nominated.
Grammy nominated as well, Ryan Coogler. This film, of course, set in 1930s Mississippi, uh, down in the Delta. Stars Michael B. Jordan, my homeboy from Newark, New Jersey, in a dual role as twin brothers Smoke and Stack, the Smokestack twins, who return to their hometown but are faced with greater evil. The film also features Hallie Steinfeld, Miles Canton, Jack O'Connell, Wumni Musaku, James Lawson, Omar Miller, Lee Jun Lee, and of course the great Delroy Lindo. Now, as I said earlier, trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers Smoke and Stack, both played by Jordan, return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Charles Kirkland, um, normally I would go first, or and then I thought about if you went first, then you would say some cool stuff. I'm gonna go first, man. All right, I'm
Okay.
gonna go first. Um, and I'll just also share with the audience that Charles and I were at different screenings watching this last night, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we
And
were.
we both got out because the movie started at the same time in both places. Charles got out and sent me two quick texts, man. You out yet? And I was out, but I was having a huge conversation with a bunch of critics and press folks after we saw this movie. Man, let me just tell you something, man. Let's just jump into it because I want to do this as spoiler free as possible because I want people to have the experience that you and I had, Charles, watching this movie, right? Of course, you can tell by the trailers, man. We already knew that Jordan was playing dual roles. You know, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are like the modern day Denzel Washington and Spike Lee, or the Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese. You know, these superstar pairings where you have a really good visionary director, and then you get a equally charismatic and talented star, and the two of them just sort of find projects together and they make them. In this film, man, you've got the story of these two brothers who we find out in backstory have done some traveling. There's been some military work. They were trained as soldiers. They go to Chicago, and of course, we don't know a lot about what happened in Chicago, but we know enough to know that there's a great line in there when the guy asks, "What's how's Chicago?" And I'm not going to tell you what he says, but it's kind of sets the precedence that Chicago and as DJ Quick once said, Chicago is just like Mississippi. So you get to this situation where they are buying an old mill, right? An old cotton mill, and they want to create their own juke joint, right? In Mississippi. And I think it's Clarksdale, Mississippi, where the story takes place.
Yeah,
And this is
Clarksdale.
1932. And so both the brothers want to open this juke joint up to kind of provide a place for the folks who live there and who work there an opportunity to enjoy themselves. And there are lots of thrills and frills and things of that nature, Charles, that they kind of provide. But also there's another story going on that will impact this story, right? About some evil that's over here that is coming over to where their juke joint is. And I'll just pretty much say that all hell ensues, right? But And that's as far as I'm going with it, Charles. But the one thing that I thought, and that I guess I knew going in, and then the movie reinforced it, is that this movie is based on the experience that Ryan Coogler had with his uncle who lived in Mississippi. He grew up, of course, in Oakland, but he would come down to Mississippi and he would spend time with his uncle. And he associated with his uncle the rich history of Mississippi, which is pretty much its blues music. There's some other, I'm not even gonna call them supernatural elements, but they're kind of spiritual practices, the voodoo and all of the other stuff, the roots, and you carrying your stuff in the bag. I mean, all the mojo, all that. You hear it in the music, Charles. The mojo. I got my mojo working, right? And Coogler incorporates all that into this story, this original story, right? And the one aspect is there's one scene that both Charles and I talked about last night, and it blew my mind that happens sort of in the second act of the story, where they talk about, there's a line that the father says, which is in the trailer, the trailer information, where it says, if you dance with the devil, if you keep dancing with the devil, at some point the devil's gonna follow you home. And in this movie, they show you the manifestation of what that represents and what that means, but also the fact, Charles, of how powerful music is, and that music in its essence, when the right person plays it, it not only makes you feel good in the moment, but it conjures up all forms of music, which he manifests and visually gives you in the movie, which I thought was like, I was like thinking, Charles, who thinks like this? Who who can put all of that stuff together? This movie to me is not just a good movie from Ryan Coogler. This movie is almost, to me, it feels like a statement, right? That and no disrespect to Lee Daniels, Barry Jenkins, Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay. I know all these directors, Charles. We met all these directors, right? No disrespect to
Right.
any of these
Right.
guys.
Yeah. Okay.
This film here has taken Coogler where he and his peer group are here. This movie is taking him up here. Sinners is a tour de force. It to me is the best film I've seen this year, Charles. And I think the
It's only April.
cinematography from Autumn Durrell Arkapaw, right? I think that shot this movie in 65 millimeter with IMAX 15 performance 70 millimeter, as well as Ultra Panavision 70 millimeter. The movie aspect and ratio shift during the story. So you start off at 1.43.1 to 276.1. It's visually, it's just amazing, right? You get a tour de force performance. Michael B. Jordan plays twins, but both twins have their own separate kind of identities and personalities. So
E-
it's not like
e-
he's just doing something standard. He's playing two different characters simultaneously in the middle of this movie with a backing supporting cast of Steinfeld, who's great in this, O'Connell, Wumi Musaku, of course, who everybody remembers from Lovecraft Country. So she brings a certain aesthetic coming in to the story that sort of makes a lot of sense. Delroy Lindo, man. What can I say about Delroy Lindo, man? West Indian Archie 30 years ago for Spike Lee. And now here he is 30 years later with Ryan Coogler, man, in Sinners. Delroy Lindo is just an actor's actor, man. So you got all of that. And Charles, I'm about to wrap up. Costumes by Ruthie Carter, which are fantastic in the story. We talked about the cinematography already. Ludwig Göransson, who won an Oscar composing the score for Black Panther, is back in this film. And the music, which draws heavily from blues traditions, he performs the score. Göransson performs the score, Charles, on the same guitar that Preacher Boy Sammy uses in the film. He composed a score for this film, and he called it his most personal score. Um, I'll just end with this, Charles, before I throw it to you. I've watched, and you've been clowning me about Letterbox. I've rated close to 3,000 movies on Letterbox right now, and out of those
uh,
3,000 movies, Charles, 29 of them before I saw this movie got 5 stars with 5-star reviews. And I'm talking about movies like Citizen Kane, The Godfather, On the Waterfront. I'm talking about like the classics. Number 30 was added last night. I gave this movie 5 stars. This movie, I'm and Charles will tell you in a second. Sinners is incredible, and we're doing this really generic spoiler-free thing on purpose because, as I said at the top, I want you to have the experience. I don't want to ruin it, but I can't wait until after a couple of weeks that we can come back and talk about Sinners some more. It's that good. Charles Kirkland Jr.
Wow, I don't know what is left on the bone for me to bite
So
off
that's why I went first.
of this. But you spoke about the music in this film. The music is an integral part of this story, and being a worship leader, I've done worship leading. I know how important music is, and I think what he does in this film is perfect in telling people how important the voice and the words of music are, because we're talking about spell casting and vision casting and connections to ancestors and the future and the past. All music just connects in a way that nothing else can. And the mythology that runs through this movie, because we're talking about vampires, and it's not a secret. But the mythology that runs through this, not just about the vampires, but again, you talked about the cultural roots of and all the things that have come before us. It's just this is a phenomenal film, and I've said this before. Said this to you before, and I'll say it again. Ryan Coogler has. I challenged. We talked before we even saw the film about the
Charles,
fact that
I think I lost you. You were talking about Ryan Coogler and then you froze. You said it once, you said it before, Ryan Coogler, and then you stopped.
we said it once, we said it before. Before we even saw this movie, Ryan Coogler has never made a bad film. He's done. This is his fifth film. Am I still breaking up?
Well, you good. You good. This fifth
Oh,
film.
okay. He's never made a bad film, and this is the best film he's ever made. And I'm mad that Warner Brothers is releasing this in April, because this thing here is fantastic, and if I hope people are remembering this film by the time Oscar season rolls around, awards season rolls around, because it's incomparable to anything else, and it's crazy that we're saying that this is the best film of the year in April. I'm sorry, he's already locked up Black Reel Awards. I don't know about anything else. I don't know what's coming after this, but it's no competition. If there We had a down year last year as far as movies go, and if this is the start of what we're going to get for the rest of this year, I'm over the moon. This thing. Look, you wanted to talk about Michael B. Jordan. I want to talk about Ryan Coogler. This man right here. This man right here. He is a genius, absolute genius. And I've never seen anything that as powerful as this film. Yeah, it's a vampire story, and there's blood and some gore in it, but it's not about the vampires. It's a Leave the theater before there are two extra end credit scenes, two of them. Make sure you stay for both of them, because my man Buddy Guy, blues legend, is in one of the scenes, and then there's another scene after that. So you stay till the very end of this film, and I can't say anymore that this film is just fantastic, outstanding. Um, I, like I said, you didn't leave me much to talk about. You talked about aspect ratios and how I just, when you're looking at the film, it's just so seamlessly done. And even though it shifts from ratio to ratio, he directs your focus to what you need to see and it centers it so well. I mean, it's just a beautiful film to watch. We talked about Nosferatu last year being a beautiful film. This is it's beautiful. It's creative. There are two scenes in here that you'll never shake out of your memory after you see them. There's two scenes in this film that you'll live with forever after you've seen this. There's no way that you can let it go. And so this film is just fantastic.
I agree with you. I think two more points, man, that I want to hit. One is the whole more metaphorical situation he creates with the vampires and their messaging tied around the Jim Crow South
Yeah.
and what freedom represents, which was a lot of what the conversation, the post conversation about this film was, that it's not just the visuals and it's not just the storytelling, but it's the messaging that's in the film that also will create lots of dialogue, post-film dialogue that happens, which I thought he did an amazing job with. And the second point, which we were having a lot of dialogue around, was, we talked about, I heard you said it's the best film he's ever made, right? And I want to agree with that, but I always pause because sometimes in the moment we're very effusive and we forget, how we felt when Black Panther came out, right? Now, I'm prepared to say, and I thought about this last night, I'm not saying it's better than Black Panther. I'm saying it's on par with Black Panther because Black Panther, when it came out, represented something for the culture that I thought was amazing, right? It was this MCU story that showed his character. It was a combination of Coogler working with Jordan again in this film, but also with Chad Boseman, the late great Chadwick Boseman. And they're creating this story. You've got Angela Bassett in it. You've got Letitia Wright. I mean, you've got what's her name? Lupita Nyong'o. So he had a superstar cast in Black
Yeah.
Panther, right?
Yeah.
And Black Panther, I still think is a very important story, but it wasn't an original story. It was a part of a
I
package
was gonna
that
say, yeah.
it was a template that Marvel had. This film is different because there is no template, and he creates this original story, but he does it in a way where, it almost felt to me in watching it, Charles, that the four films that he had worked on previously, whether it was Fruitvale, Creed, Black Panther, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, to get to Sinners, got him enough confidence and enough ability, not just as a director, but an auteur. Like he is an auteur now when he steps into Sinners. And
Yeah.
if Sinners is Ryan Coogler's fifth film, so I mean, let's back up for a second and talk about the greats, right? The second film from Martin Scorsese, and I want to make sure I'm right. It's either the second or third film because I thought Mean Streets might have been his breakthrough, but I don't think that was his first film.
Right.
I thought he made a film before Mean Streets. I think it was Boxcar Bertha he made before, right? His third film was Taxi Driver. That was his third film. And if I'm incorrect, either his fourth or fifth film might have been Raging Bull. And so Taxi Driver and Raging Bull are like two of the greatest American movies ever made. And they were inside of Scorsese's top five, like the first five films he ever made, right? Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg did God, I forget what it was called. It was the movie about the truck driver who was stalking the guy was his first film. And Jaws,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I forget what it was called, but it was 5 years after that. He made Jaws, right? Which of course was inside of his first five films, right? We talk about Spike. His fifth film was Malcolm X. Like his third film was Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
His third film. So my point is that when I talk about Ryan Coogler being an auteur, right? And you talk about Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, you can think about great directors, man. It don't take long to get greatness, bruh. You can get greatness almost immediately out of these filmmakers. And Ryan Coogler has given us greatness at film five. He gave us a really great film at film three. This is film five. Yeah, man. Sinners is amazing. But like I said, I won't call it better than. I think because it's easy in the moment because Sinners is what we are in the Sinners period now. I would love to have this conversation in like 6 months to a year about
I'm
you know.
confident. I'm sorry. I was going to say, here's why I'm confident in saying that Sinners is better than Black Panther. And you touched on it, but when he created Black Panther, he was working off of a template. He was uh, a lot of the visuals that we saw came from comic books, and he just executed the vision that was there before him. It was a story that he recreated from a story that was already present. He didn't create the characters, he was just working on them. Same thing with Creed. He created these characters, but it was based on the same story from the Rocky Sinners. This is his completely original. He did. There was no template that he followed. There was no book that he was influenced by. This is not an adapted screenplay. This is totally his creation. And so, just for that matter, and yes, uh, the cultural significance of Black Panther can't be ignored. But as a film, as a creation, I think this film stands above what happened with Black Panther. I'm just
Mm,
saying.
okay. Well, so I guess you heard me say earlier that I gave it 5 stars, which is
Yeah.
an A plus. If I had a 6 star, I'd give it that. What what did you give Sinners, man?
Please don't even ask me, bro. It's A plus for this film. I labored over the fact that I can't really be giving a movie A plus in April, but this movie is worth it. It certainly we just like you talked about. We spent our circle of critics. We spent half an hour debriefing the Allied reps after after this film, just talking about all the things that we saw in this film that were fantastic and perfectly executed. Yeah, this movie is totally an A plus for me. A plus, and which is why we're doing this review. I mean,
Absolutely. All right. Well, Sinners is in theaters this weekend. Both Charles and I saw this earlier this week. I'm going back to get me another ticket as soon as I get off of here because I got to see. I was 20 minutes into it, Charles, and I was like, I got to see this movie again. I got to see this again. Um, yeah, just man, wow. That's all I can say is wow, wow. I
yeah,
came home with this last night, which Charles was like, I'm jealous.
man, don't
And the
show,
thing
don't
about
put
this,
that up. They can't see it. They can't see it.
oh yeah, that's true. You can't see it. So I actually have the foam board poster of the film sitting in my office now. I'm like, bruh, Sinners is amazing, man. So, um, as I tell you guys every week, please see something good at the movies. If you ain't watching Sinners this weekend, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Matter of fact, when y'all go to the theater this weekend, please keep it classy, man. Don't go. Oh, actually, that's not true because they treated it like the '70s last night. Don't go in that room. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We had some of that too. We had some of that too. Look, I know WrestleMania is this weekend.
right.
You can watch that anytime. Go see this movie.
All
Go
right.
see this movie.
Sinners is an instant classic. 5 stars, A plus from Charles Kirkland Jr. Until next time, man, you guys enjoy and make sure you subscribe and follow us, man, at thefilmgordon.com and come check out more of our reviews. You guys take care, man, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.